So, welcome back, friends. We'll start with our discussion. We'll continue with the discussion. So, we were discussing regarding your spectrum. So, we have completed the discussion of the eye. In the previous video, we have completed the discussion of the eye. So, going forward in the next video, today's video, what we'll do is we'll discuss regarding your visible spectrum. So, you might have already heard of this visible spectrum n number of times. I hope most of you know that who was the discoverer of this electromagnetic spectrum. It was discovered by Sir Isaac Newton, and he is one of the famous scientists. And you might be also knowing his famous experiment through which he discovered this electromagnetic spectrum. The experiment which we used to do during our PU classes as well. It is the PU classes, I guess, so in the high school as well. So it is it is basically done with the help of the glass prism. What he did was he tried to pass a beam of light through that glass prism. Then at the output, that is the output of the prism, what he got was not only a white light, but it consisted of a spectrum of colors. And these colors arranged from violet to red, something like that. As you can see in this slide, it arranged from some violet to red. Okay. Now, so this visible spectrum, that is whatever you can see in this present slide, it is at one end we have the radio waves. Somewhere here we have the radio waves, and you can see it is somewhere in the times of billions of wavelengths. 10 raised to 3, it comes up to somewhere around billions. So whatever you can see the chart here, the chart which I am pointing right now, it is the wavelength chart. So you can see here the wavelength is somewhere around billions for the radio waves, and at one end you have this radio waves, and at the other end you have the gamma waves, and here you have the wavelength ranging up to 10 raised to minus 12. Okay, so that is million times smaller. So between these two we have our visible waves. The visible light will be present in between these two wavelengths, and I hope you know the formula for wavelength. It is nothing but lambda is equal to c by v, right? Where or you can say c by nu, something like that. So where nu is nothing but your frequency, lambda is nothing but your wavelength, and c is nothing but the constant. And how do you measure the whole thing? The whole thing we measure with the help of one simple diagram. That is, the whole thing is done with the help of a simple equation, which is nothing but the equation of the light, which is given by energy E. Energy E is equal to H, where H stands for your Planck constant, and this is multiplied by gamma. Right, so H is the Planck constant and your gamma is there. So therefore the energy is nothing but it is the units of wavelength, which is usually measured in terms of meters, and thereby you will be getting your frequency. Right, so this formula is very much important. That is, E is equal to H into nu, and you already know H is nothing but your Planck's constant. Okay, so yeah, so coming back, so frequency, so wavelength is measured in terms of meters, and sometimes it is also measured in terms of microns and nanometers, but most of the times we try to measure it in the form of the meters. Now coming to frequency, frequency is nothing but it is, you can say, one cycle of sinusoidal wave per second. We say usually frequency is nothing but one cycle of sinusoidal wave, and we measure it in the form of your hertz. Yeah, am I correct? So it will be measured in the form of hertz. Fine. So moving ahead, how this electromagnetic wave is categorized, or how do you identify that it's an electromagnetic wave? So this is done usually in the form of the waves. That is, it travels in the form of the waves. All your materials will be traveling in the form of the waves, and it will be moving with the speed of the light. So each particle, what we do is we try to bundle it, and thereby we try to measure the energy, and thereby that energy is called as a photon. So I hope I am clear. Whatever the energy is transmitted when a wave is traveled, that energy we will bundle it, and thereby we call it as a photon. So this energy, whatever you see, which is emitted with the help of this traveling wave or a traveling photon, is nothing but it is proportional to the frequency. Okay, so higher the frequency, we say that more energy is being carried. That is, the photon is carrying more energy whenever there is a higher frequency. So you can observe here the frequency, this one. Yeah, the frequency is increasing in this way. On the left hand side, the frequency is increasing, and when you move at the right hand side, the frequency is decreasing. You can see that the frequency is decreasing. So therefore, what we do, friends, here is whenever the energy is more, whenever we say that the energy is more, it means that it is having a higher frequency. Like say for example, your gamma rays. You can find here gamma rays. So gamma rays has an frequency somewhere 10 raised to 21. So that's why we usually say that gamma rays are dangerous to living organisms. And when you see to your radio waves, it is having 10 raised to 5. So radio waves are not harmful so much. Why? The simple reason, because you can observe the radio waves are being used for a number of radio transmissions like FM, AM, all those things are there, right? So that itself. Now coming to your other portion of the diagram, you have here. Yeah. So the other portion of the diagram here, you can see here, this is nothing but your colors. So the colors, whatever you can see, it starts at the extreme left hand, you have a ultraviolet color, and at the extreme right hand, you have the infrared. Okay. Now, what we usually observe here is the visible band of the electromagnetic spectrum. It ranges somewhere from in between violet to red. So whatever the portion we have divided here, this portion becomes the visible band, and thereby you can also mapped it into the wavelength. So this is where our visible spectrum is there. That is in between violet to red. So it lies in between ultraviolet and infrared. So the color space, for our convenience, the color space has been divided into 6 broad regions. Like say for example, violet, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. Okay. So but we cannot clearly tell where a particular color is ending and where the next color is beginning. So this colors, whatever you can see here, it is nothing but it is completely depending on the reflected light by the object. Like say for example, a particular object is there and it is reflecting a red color, then we perceive or then we see that the object is in the color of red. Like say for example, green objects. So the green objects, they reflect light in the range of 500 to 570 nanometers. So whenever you want to see any green object, it will be here 0.5 into 10 raised to minus 6, that is somewhere around 500 nanometers. Okay. So coming to the next very important thing, we have light is basically categorized into 3 major things. One of them is depending on the color. It is basically done in the form of what color it is. So the first one you have is monochromatic light. So the monochromatic light has only one attribute, which is nothing but the intensity. What is the amount of the light? Only that can be measured when you speak of your monochromatic light. That is because it varies from black to grays, and sometimes it also goes to white. So therefore this monochromatic light is also called as gray level light. That's why we came across the images called as grayscale images. So this gray level is usually used to denote your monochromatic intensity, and the range of this monochromatic light will be somewhere from black to white. So when you see this spectrum, it ranges from black to white, somewhere in this region. So in this region, it will be your grayscale image, right? And whatever the grayscale images are there, they will be in the form of black and white images. Most of our grayscale images are in the form of black and white, or they look like black and white images. Going to next one, this was monochromatic. Why mono? Because it has a single light. Next comes chromatic. Chromatic lights are nothing but your color lights. So therefore this ranges the span somewhere around 0.43 to 0.79 micron meters. And this chromatic light has 3 major things. One is radiance, then comes luminance, and then comes your brightness. So these 3 things are very important. So radiance, it gives you the amount of energy that is thrown out from the light source, and this is usually measured in terms of watts. So you can say radiance is nothing but power. So what amount of power your light source is giving, that is nothing but your radiance. Luminance is measured in the form of lumens, that is LM, and it gives the amount of energy the observer takes. Radiance is the amount of energy the source is emitting. Luminance is the amount of energy the observer is taking. So I hope you can correlate with the sender and the receiver. The sender is radiance and the receiver is your luminance. Now, whenever the light is emitted from any particular source, it could be in any region, but whether that light will be seen or not will be depending on the observer. That is, if its luminance would be totally zero, then the observer cannot see the light. Now coming to the next very important thing, that is brightness. So brightness is another very important descriptor. As you all know, there is nothing much to describe in brightness. If there is ample amount of brightness, then you can see the object. If the brightness goes beyond certain level, then you cannot see the object, or if the brightness goes below certain level, then also you cannot see the object. Now, coming to the other major discussion, so this was all about your two types of lights. One is monochromatic light, another one is chromatic light. And remember friends, monochromatic, if I have a monochromatic light, the images which we will be getting are grayscale images. And if you have a chromatic light, the images which we will be getting is color images. Okay. Now coming to the applications of this various spectrums, whatever the spectrums you can see here, all these various rays, that is gamma rays, X-rays, all these have certain applications. To start with your gamma radiations. Gamma radiations are basically used in all your medical and space research applications. Like say for example, if I want to get any medical applications, then we will be using your gamma rays. Now coming to your X-rays, that is hard X-rays and soft X-rays. X-rays are most of the times used in medical applications, as well as they are also used in your dental applications, as well as in your other X-ray machine, you can say, whatever the X-ray machine you can see there. But only small difference is this hard energy, that is hard X-rays, are used in your industrial applications. The soft X-rays are used in your medical applications, right? Now going to next one you have is your infrared. So infrared most of the times it radiates lots of heat. So therefore it is basically used in your imaging applications, wherein they require your heat signatures. Now next, the closer part to your infrared is near infrared region, and the opposite end of this band is far infrared region. So these two are again very major blocks. And next comes is the well-known source, which we already know, which is nothing but energy in the microwave ovens. So here we have this is basically used in your communications and radar. So if I want to use radars, then I need to emit your microwaves. Then finally coming to a radio band, this most of you already know. Here we will be using it for basically radio signals. And the one major thing it would be, say for example, I want to get any stellar bodies coming. Stellar bodies are nothing but any meteors, something is coming, and if I want to detect it, then that would be done with the help of the radio waves. That is, it is basically used in your astronomical observations. Okay, so this is all regarding your applications of the whole visible spectrum, whatever the spectrum you can see here. Now the main thing here is we will be usually, say for example, I want to detect a particular energy, then I need to come up with a sensor. So this sensor, whatever will be there, it should be designed in such a way that it will be detecting that particular area. Like say for example, I design a sensor which would detect the microwaves. Then we say that we can only be measuring the microwaves, right? So therefore this becomes very important. That is, what sensor I will be detecting, based on that a particular region of the spectrum will be visible. So friends, this is here I will be finishing my today's class. So in today's class, what all did we see? We saw your visible spectrum, what are the various regions in your visible spectrum. We also saw this light diagram, wherein we tried to study about your photon, that is E is equal to h nu. H is Planck's constant, nu is nothing but frequency. Then we also saw the various spectrum lights. One is your monochromatic light, other one is your chromatic light. We also saw what are the various characteristics of your chromatic lights, and then we finally finished with your applications of various spectrums. So thank you for attending today's class. We'll meet again in the next class.